The young man is hoping to have a big impact on his community just by being happy.
Hey there, folks. This is me, your boy, the Jokester.
Angel! Angel! Open up! Please!
Wow. I never thought we'd make it this far, 10 years. Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that I've been recording videos for 10 years now. It's insane, especially after all the obstacles that I've faced in the past and obstacles that I'm still facing right now. And, being on this journey, it's very frustrating at times, considering how you're trying to garner up as much support as you can, but at the same time, it's very rewarding because, you're seeing your work slowly pay off in many ways, but you also want it to pay off in the sense that, you actually want to get to where you want to go.
Tuesday morning, May 1st, 2001, 5:10 a.m. in Savannah, Georgia. Corey Ramon Davis was born. Born into a family of 4 in a decent home environment with a strong, loving, supportive family behind his back.
Coming from a town like this, coming from a town like Hinesville, you look at it and, when you're immersed in it, you see that there's not really much to do. There's not really much to offer. You're kind of just there in your own little pebble. So, growing up as a kid, growing up in the early mid 2000s through the late 10s, you're constantly scrounging around, finding things to do, finding ways to entertain yourself because, we don't have any amusement parks. We don't have any water parks. We don't have any bowling alleys or arcades or whatnot. So, growing up, it was just a matter of, okay, I can either go outside and play, or I can just stay in the house, play my PS2 or, play my Nintendo Wii or GameCube or DS or whatever, And so growing up, I didn't have a smartphone. Smartphones weren't really popular like that. I mean, the first smartphone or the first iPhone, I guess, didn't even come out until 2007. And I was 6 years old at the time. I was too young to have a device like that. And devices like that were, expensive at the time. So what can a 6-year-old kid do in a small town? Well, he could use his imagination. He could pretend to be these different imaginary characters in his mind, or, have some imaginary friends that he can play with besides his siblings.
Corey, come here.
Oh! Swear!
Yeah, because
Oh! We are... We
back it up, back it up, back it up, back.
Coming from a town like this,
Stop.
there were no other pleasures. You know what I'm saying? Unless you can go to Savannah, but that was like 45 minutes away. And, you know, us being kids back then, we didn't have cars, you know, we didn't have licenses. So, you know, we had to ask our mom, hey, mom, you know, can we go here? Can we go there? And sometimes she would take us, and sometimes, you know, she wouldn't. But the times that she wouldn't take us, you know, we just had to find other things to do, you know?
The world is his motto, and it's a little hollow, it's a little grandiose. Yesterday we're in the basement. It's like the LA City.
And then he gets kind of...
Sentimentality has been a big core element in Corey's family. Capturing every little moment was very important, whether it be through pictures or videos. Either the case, recording and capturing has been a part of his family since day one.
You know, the year 2007 was a very significant year for me in the sense that that was the year that I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and I knew exactly who I wanted to be. And from that point on, you know, just having this weird imagination as a kid, you know, finding ways to entertain yourself, it just made me realize that, man, I'm playing all these different people in my head. Like, I remember there was this one imaginary superhero that I made up in my head named Jumper Boy. So Jumper Boy was this boy who would have these jumping abilities. Like, he couldn't fly, but he could jump very high, like the Incredible Hulk. He could just leap off of tall buildings and, you know, cover all these large grounds, cover all these large gaps. And so I had this vision in my mind that I was this, you know, superhero. And me and my brother, you know, we would play around with each other. I'd be the superhero, he'd be the supervillain. And so, you know, just being that type of kid growing up, just having an imagination, you know, it made me realize that, man, like, I want to do this more often. Like, I want to be this entertaining more often. And so when I'm looking at movies that came out that year, like Spider-Man 3 and Transformers, the first one, and, you know, all these other, you know, wonderful films, I'm just imagining in my mind, like, man, like, I want to make a movie one day. I want to be in the movie, you know? I want to see my name in the credits. I want to see, you know, the hard work that I put into something pay off. You know, I want to be noticed. I want to be recognized. And, you know, little did I know that 7 years later, you know, in 2014, I would have a chance to start actually recording myself doing different things. You know, thanks to, you know, my mom allowing me to get a smartphone for the very first time.
Good Times, Family Matters, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Sanford and Son, Kenan and Kel, Hollywood Shuffle, Blade, and many more were all examples of Black TV shows and movies that had one thing in common. They inspired Corey to want to create. To see the many faces that looked like him appear on screen and break many barriers and show the many nuances and layers of Black culture have all inspired him to show the world that Black people are not a monolith and that they can be better than what the media wants them to be.
Hey there, folks. This is me, your boy, the Jokester, and we are here for a brand new special episode of Broken Jokin'.
All gloves were off. Like, just everything. Everything was up for grabs. Like, my ambitions, my imaginations, it was just all on the table at that point. Just recording, just, doing anything. Just being silly, just dancing, doing whatever. Like, just recording myself on screen. I took the liberty of starting a show on Facebook. And this show was called Broken Jokin'. And I know that's a wacky name, but it was a comedy show. I was trying so hard to be this stand-up comedian or whatever, just trying to be funny, and I wasn't. I'm not gonna lie, I was not funny at all. It was very cringy. I've deleted most of the videos now, with the exception of 2. But it was just this comedy show that I made so I could tell jokes. And the jokes that I've told, they were stolen from milk cartons, of course. But I would take the jokes from milk cartons out of school. Like, these jokes were placed on our milk cartons at school. And around this time, 2014, I was still in middle school. I was like in the 7th, going into 8th grade. Or better yet, no, I was in the 8th grade. I remember now, because my 8th grade year was when I started this. So my 8th grade year, I would write down these jokes in these little notebooks. And then I would study these jokes, and then every Sunday, I would record myself for ranging from 5 to like 17 minutes per episode.
Did you hear about the dancer's birthday? Because I sure didn't. You wanna know why? Because it was a tappy one. Yep, his birthday was a tappy one. Like this. The dancer couldn't tap dance, so he had to try something like this. Now that was tappy. Or should I say, crappy. Ho 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 ho. Woo!
I would tell 3 jokes in the episode. I would tell 3 jokes that I handpicked from the milk cartons. I would tell the joke. I would dance in between the time that I would give people to figure out what the punchline was, and then I would, act out the joke or whatever. So, for instance, if the joke was, let's say there was one joke where, why can't you hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom? Because the P is silent. Ha ha, yeah. Ha ha, hilarious. That was a knee slapper. Whatever, but I would tell the joke. I would do a little dance or shimmy, because I was a very mobile kid back then. I used to always like to move around or whatever. I could never sit still. My aunt used to call me squiggly because I used to always be squirming around, just moving around. One minute I'd be here, the next minute I'd be over there, the next minute I'd be over here. I would never just keep my butt still in the seat somewhere. But, I would always be squiggling around, while I would tell jokes. And yeah, that was in 2014. The show lasted a year. And it lasted a year because I knew that, I'm just going to be honest with myself, nobody was really laughing like that. No one was really paying attention. Or maybe people were, but they were laughing at the fact that I was doing these silly videos instead of, laughing with, so I didn't really get a lot of support in that, didn't really get a lot of support, which, at the time, I was a 13, 14-year-old kid, so, when you're in middle school, you kind of just, you're wacky. You do wacky things, and you expect people to, I don't know, go along with it. But it just wasn't the case with my peers. So, I put myself out there. I've been putting myself out there since 2014. And I've also made cartoons around that time too. That's when I started getting into more um, animation. And the first cartoon that I made was a superhero that I made called Corey the Jokester, which was my stage name, by the way. Um, that's where I originated my stage name from, me telling jokes. And so on one episode of my show, Broken Jokin', I made a cartoon special called Corey the Jokester. It was about this green superhero. Um, I was telling a joke in the real world, and then, I don't know, something happened. Um, my heart stopped. I was falling to the ground, and
This is me, your boy, the Jokester, and we are here for a brand new episode of Oh no, I'm broken inside. Now is not the time to be joking because I am shrinking. Oh no, what's happening to me? Don't tell me. No. Oh. Huh?
next thing you know, I'm in this cartoon
Where
world,
am I?
flying around. I got superpowers. I'm flying here, I'm flying there, and then this giant robot just comes in and just takes over the world, and I gotta stop and kill the robot. And yeah, it was just a silly plot, but it's 10 minutes long. It's on my YouTube channel. Blah blah blah. If you want to check it out, cool. If not, I understand. I mean, most of my stuff back then was crap anyway. So I get it. I understand. No hard feelings, I get it.
Bradwell Institute, or as most call it, Brad Hell, was a high school where toxicity and chaos prevailed while peace failed. There, in this uncontrollable environment, welcomed violence, corruption, and all other forms of negativity. Corey was always a person who wanted to go against the grain and be different, fighting against conformity and wanting better for himself and others around him. In middle school, his focus was solely based on joke videos. But at this very moment, upon entering the fiery pit which would become known as high school, his focus and purpose began to shift.
I'm done telling jokes. I'm retiring from comedy. I'm done with jokes. And all those talent shows I entered, I just don't have what it takes. I'm just gonna face the facts. I'm not funny. I'm not funny at all.
I've always been this person growing up where I've wanted to put out positive images. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be an example for people. Because growing up, I would always see, like I said, negative representations of us, I grew up watching a lot of gangster flicks and a lot of dramas and all these different movies and different shows that would put us in a negative light. And so I was always someone who was like, you know what? When I make my own stuff, I want to be an example that, this isn't all of us. We're not all like that. We don't all come from the ghetto. We don't all come from the slums, or, what I'm saying? We're not all out here trying to kill each other. There are actually a handful of us who want a better life. There are a handful of us who actually want to do great things. And we just want to coexist peacefully in this world, in this barbaric world that we live in. And so that's why when I got my smartphone, I dedicated my time to making these different videos. Whether they were crappy or not, I've always wanted to just make something that people weren't used to seeing, Because back then, before TikTok, there were a lot of YouTube people on, YouTube making videos. And, you had a lot of people on Vine, which, the younger kids today will never know about. Before TikTok, we had Vine. And, just watching these different videos, you could see different types of people doing different types of things. And they were doing things within their own element. And so that kind of inspired me to go out and do something within my own element. And so I looked at these, thugs and pimps and prostitutes and slaves in these movies. And I told myself, I'm not going to do that, And so I started, with the joke videos. And that didn't work out. So I just moved on to something else, which was dancing. And I've been doing dancing since 2014 as well. Like, that year is significant because I first started dancing that year. It was around field day. It was my 7th grade year. And I saw that, the way that dancing kind of brought people together. I was dancing with this dude in my class. He was very tall. We just had this friendly dance battle, after field day. And all the kids in my class, we were all just huddling around in a circle, and we were just, they were just hyping me on, hyping him on. He obviously won that dance. He's a great dancer. But yeah, they were just hyping us on, and we were all just having a good time, just laughing and playing and carrying on. We were all just innocent. And I saw the potential in that. And so that was kind of like my next mission, After the whole joke thing didn't work out, the joke videos, which I've incorporated some dances, like I said, into my jokes. But since the whole joke telling gig didn't work out, I was like, you know what? I want to focus on unity. You know what I'm saying? I want to create more content to where I can actually unite people, bring them together. And yeah, why not? Why not do some silly dances, I guess? Which, I'm going to tell you, I did not know how to dance. I didn't know how to dance at all. But, I saw what it could do. I saw that it could bring people together. And so I wanted to use my craft as a way to promote more positivity and unite people and bring them together rather than, separating.
Yeah! Come on.
So the high school that I went to, whew, boy, whew, I could write a whole memoir about it. Could write a whole memoir about my experiences in high school and the things that I've seen go down. Cause yeah, that school does not have a very good reputation. It has a very bad reputation, and it's had a bad reputation for a very long time. You know, most of my mom's side of the family went to this high school, and around the times when they've went, the school wasn't as bad as it is now. But yes, my high school has a very bad, very, very bad reputation. The fight culture there is very infamous. It is most known for its intensive fight culture. You know, a lot of kids, you know, every day I went to school or every other day would just be a bunch of fights, just people just pounding each other. Like, take this pillow, right? It's early in the morning and this is the kid and this fist is from another kid and boom, boom, just boom, boom, like just pounding each other, like just barbaric. It was like we were just watching UFC or something, you know? And this would happen early in the morning or around the afternoon, but Jesus, like even early in the morning, it's like, how do you guys have so much energy to do all this crazy stuff? It is too early for this. Like, are y'all drinking Red Bull or something? Like, did it give you the wings that you thought it was going to give you? Like, what's happening? So I would come in this building every morning and see just a bunch of kids just fighting. You know, fighting over here, fighting over there. And it would be a struggle sometimes to get to class because, you know, they're blocking the paths. You know, you got a bunch of kids just rushing and saying, ah, there's a fight. You know, we're going to put it on Snapchat or, you know, Instagram or whatever. Like, you know, people would start pulling out their phones and start recording and, you know, recording their phone, you know, recording the fights and posting it all over social media for everyone to see. And I would have to take detours, like take alternate routes to get to a certain class without getting late, without being tardy, because kids would just pile over and converge and just watch everything unfold. And, you know, people liked seeing stuff like that. I don't know why. Don't ask me, but that's just how it was. You know, people just saw that as a form of entertainment. And, you know, it just got to a point where I just got tired of coming to school every day and just seeing people just be barbaric and seeing people just doing all these negative things that would set us back as a community. Not only that, but as a generation, you know, because I'm Gen Z, and, you know, every time I would go to school or come home from school, I would hear an older adult say, "Oh man, you kids are wild." Like, you kids, like, don't lump me in there with them. I don't do what they do. Like, I was that type of kid that just, you know, I went to school, you know, I got my education and I came right back here. I came back home. Like, I didn't affiliate with what they were doing, you know? I just didn't want to be a part of that. I wanted no parts of that, you know? And it just dawned on me that, you know, these kids are doing this and they're pounding on each other once again, just pounding. And I just got frustrated. I just got tired of seeing it. And so I, you know, that's when I kind of thought about the dancing idea from my old video, from some old videos that I've seen myself in, like when I was telling jokes and, you know, that one dance video of me dancing with that dude, you know, in the 7th grade, I saw the potential of how it could bring people together. And so I just kind of used that as a tool, as a tactic to, you know, start bringing, you know, my aspirations and my craft to the school instead of just, only doing it online, just bring it into real life. And, you know, starting from late 2015 to, sometime in 2016, that's what I did. My content was solely based on dancing.
Well, a young man is hoping to have a big impact on his community just by being happy.
Well, Don Lagana has tonight's WTOC Good News.
Hard to forget that song. Those words from Pharrell Williams' big hit inspired this 14-year-old Bradwell Institute student to tackle a larger goal than just a happy dance. Corey Davis decided it was his mission to make people happy.
Just to get people to be happy and, just to relieve their stress from many things and stop being so caught up in what happened yesterday or what happened last year.
The happy dance movement was it was a movement based off of Pharrell Williams' song "Happy" from the Despicable Me 2 soundtrack. It was a movement that I started in early 2016. I sent it to my local news station. Back then, at the time, I didn't really think that it would go as far as it did.
Already 7,000 people have viewed it. Most people didn't want it to end, so he's hoping to make a longer happy dance video.
I just wanted to make something that would kind of unite people. And so I thought that hopefully, this song has a positive message to it, and, dancing has a way of unifying people and bringing them together. So I just thought, why not combine the two, to mix the elements of it and, make something work. I was dancing to it, squiggling, moving around, and I sent it to my local news station. The anchor at the time, he is no longer here, rest in peace. But at the time, I sent it to him. I just sent it to a random person. I didn't really know him like that. I didn't really know anybody on that news station like that. He just happened to be someone that I just randomly saw, and I just, sent it to him and wanted to see how far it would get. I was actually surprised to hear and see that he actually reached back out and he was on board with it. And so he had posted it on his Facebook page. It was the very next morning I woke up and the video had over like 1,000 views. And I'm like, huh? Like, wait, this actually happened. Like, I didn't expect it to get this far. Like, how? And it just kept on spiraling, and it just went viral. I remember that day. I was kind of amazed to be in those headquarters because I had been watching that news channel for years, and for me to finally be in the midst of it, it's like, wow, like I'm actually here. Like I'm actually going to be on TV. Wow, that's wow. Never thought I'd be on TV. That's been a dream of mine since I was a kid, but I just never thought that this one dance video would get me on TV in the local area. And so I took a chance. I sent him the video. He said, yes, come on by. We'll do the interview. I did the interview. And, a few days later, the interview airs on TV. And, a few days after that, I went to school and, my classmates just started clapping. Like early in the morning, they just started clapping. I remember I was late to class because my bus was late to get us. What a coincidence how I was the last one to arrive in class and everyone starts clapping. But yeah, my bus was late that morning, and I showed up to class, everyone started clapping, and I'm looking around like, what's going on here? And it seemed like everybody enjoyed it. Everyone liked what I was doing. But then, in the face of good things, you also have some adversity. A lot of kids, I've overheard people, say things like, "What? He's just on the news for dancing. Like what? What? Like they're recognizing him for that? Like what? Like how? Like he does this all the time in the school. Like how does he get that? Just I guess hating or just couldn't believe that someone like me who didn't fight, who didn't partake in negative activities, who didn't participate in many scandals that are unspoken of. You know, how can a guy like this get on the news for something like that? Something positive, something uplifting. Because even back then, I always told myself one thing I'm not going to be is a stereotype. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to live that stereotypical life of being a wannabe gangster or being this or being that, doing this, doing that. Like I don't want to be a stereotype. I never wanted to be a stereotype. I've always wanted to be someone different. I've always wanted to stand out and stay in my own lane and do my own thing. And I guess a lot of people just didn't like me for it. But you know what? I didn't care. I really didn't, because I'd rather look back at myself later on doing these things and being proud of it than to pretend to be someone that I'm not.
Riding off of the success that Corey achieved with his happy dance movement, he started to seize the opportunity to push out some of his own material outside of dancing in order to gain a following. To improve his craft, he joined his school's news team.
Oh! No! The portal was closed! No! Ah, now how am I gonna get back home? Wait, where am I? What is this place?
High school was also a significant time to where, so my school didn't really have a lot of arts clubs or programs or whatnot. I mean, we had a drama club, which I was in for about a semester my sophomore year, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. But we also had a club called Tiger TV, because the tiger was our mascot. And so Tiger TV, I did this the second half of my freshman year, where it was a broadcast type of class where we would kind of make news segments for our school and basically give the school news and talk about what's happening around the school and what's going to be served for lunch and all that stuff. And being on the media team, it was kind of refreshing at the time, because to me it was just like, well, okay, we don't have a lot of artsy stuff here, so let me take advantage of this. And so within these news segments, we would also have little skits that we would have to film each week, and not every skit would make it into the final cut for the news segment. So we kind of just had to pick and choose. As a class, we would all make skits and vote on it together. Who would make it into the week segment. And so one of my skits that I made was called CD Man. It was about a superhero with a blue cape. He had on shades. He had on short sleeve blue shirt, navy pants, and he had a buzz cut. And I remember doing that segment in this app called Superpower Effects. I filmed it on my phone, and we also used the little broadcast cameras that we had at school at the time. And so that segment ended up making it into the final cut on one of the news segments that we've done. And it was just very refreshing to hear some, funny feedback from some of my peers. Some, not all, but some of my peers, to see that I was playing this superhero.
You don't have to do this, right? You can always choose the right path.
What path? You forget your light on darkness. Wherever there's you, I'll always be.
I'll show you.
Oh, that's it!
Ah!
class was, to me, it was a very fun class because it allowed for me to put some ideas down and work with other people in that capacity. You know, kind of put my creative endeavors to the test. And, you know, I was an amateur at the time, and, you know, I still consider myself an amateur today. I still have a lot to learn and have a lot of things that I can grow upon. But, you know, at that particular time in 2016, that's what the class, to me, that's what it was for. It was for me to practice and hone my skills a little more, in addition to the dance videos that I was making. So it was a kind of a mesh between, you know, doing the dance videos and doing, you know, the news stuff in the Tiger TV class.
Corey saw Tiger TV as an outlet that initially started off well, but over time, no matter how creative he tried to be, no matter how hard he tried, no one really cared. What started as a fun way to work with other people and make content soon became a slow burn for him. Tiger TV expanded his horizons. It allowed for him to explore new things and reach new heights. But now, he was willing to take it a step further, even further and further and further with all his material. With the school still in peril, there was no room for new skits at the moment. Corey re-employed his dancing content in order to try and restore order in the school. Little did he know, however, he was beginning to develop a savior complex. A complex so big that he forgot himself along the way.
Another significant moment in high school regarding my content creation was this movement that I started. It was September, I think, 23rd or 24th of 2016, but it was around that time of that year that changed the way that I kind of just went about, you know, making videos. And so that day consisted of me and this young lady, you know, who was a senior at the time, but I was a sophomore at the time, but, you know, we were both dancers. You know, dancing was never a passion of mine, you know what I'm saying? I was never the type of person that kind of wanted to pursue dancing. You know, it was just something that I kind of used as a tactic to bring people together. And so when I found out that she danced as well, I was like, you know, let's have a friendly dance battle. We both planned it out because she was in my first period class that year. We were in first period together, and we linked up, and, you know, we were kind of just like, yeah, let's do it. She won that battle, by the way. She killed it. You know, this battle, it brought so many people together. I remember, to me, that's a very legendary day to me. I will never forget it. Like, it just brought so many people together. No one was fighting. Everybody was having a great time. We were all just, having fun like it was a field day, but not like the type of field day where we're all buck wild, but, just a day where nobody was fighting, Anytime I got out there and danced, I can tell you, I can proudly say that I didn't see any fights happening. Not in my sight, Maybe it happened later on that day, but not while I was dancing. And so I could just hear people right now just chanting, just chanting. Hey, just chanting, as I was clapping and stomping my feet and squirming around, just jumping, I could just feel the energy and feel the vibe. Like it was just a very positive vibe. And then when she came in and did her thing, it was still a positive vibe, And just seeing all of these students just come together to watch us, it was a spectacle. It was a great moment. And you even had kids from other classes because at my school, we had different lunch periods. So we had first lunch, second lunch, and third lunch. And I was always first lunch for whatever reason. And so when it was my lunch period, when we did the dance, everybody just came out, and like people from different classes and even a few teachers here and there, they came out because they thought that they saw a fight. Shoot, even kids from ISS came out because they thought they saw a fight. But it turns out there was no fight. It was just us dancing. Some of them were disappointed because they wanted, some action, because some people just thrive in negativity. Some people like to see negativity. Like we're on some Jerry Springer or Maury show or whatever. But, it wasn't the case. With my movement, the BI Friday movement, which is what I started. It started with that. Every Friday at my school, and it really was an institute, but that's besides the point. But it was a movement that I created that I would dance every single Friday just to bring people together. Whether it be on stage, in the cafeteria, or whether it be in the commons area. But every Friday I would do this just to bring people together. Whether they laughed at me or not, whether they, liked what I was doing or not. I just wanted to be silly as a way to distract people from fighting or distract people from witnessing a fight or whatever and watching someone who was just being himself. To me, that's more of a strategy than a passion. Like I said, it was a tool. It was a tactic that I developed. I knew what I was doing, and I wasn't oblivious to the criticisms that people were giving me. I wasn't trying to be a dancer, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to, make a You Got Served Part 2 or whatever, or Stump the Yard 3. Like, I didn't care about all that. I wasn't trying to be a good dancer. I just wanted to use a tool and use a tactic to distract people from doing bad things. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to crowd around and look at someone just being himself instead of looking at two people fighting or whatever, So I knew what I was doing. I was aware of what I was doing.
His initial motives of combating his school environment using his craft were very lofty in the beginning. It did have a strong start, but like his former joke videos, the dancing content began to decline. Respect from his peers were also declining. Growing up, Corey found it extremely difficult to be accepted by his peers. He was often seen as weird, different, and peculiar. His intentions of doing good were pure, but at the same time, the lines were blurred. with Corey longing and craving external validation.
You know, at first, I thought the dancing thing was working out, because, you know, moving on from that particular day in 2016, I just saw the potential in it. I saw that it could bring people together, and I thought that it was actually getting somewhere. But, over time, throughout my sophomore year and junior year, and, maybe a good chunk of the beginning of senior year, it just started to decline. Like the culture just started to decline, and the fights kept getting worse, and the people kept getting worse, and so I thought, okay, what am I doing? Like, am I the things that I'm doing, is it not enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm taking pictures of the posters that I'm putting around promoting peace and positivity. I'm sharing that on my social media pages, and I'm also trying to have these dancing moments in the cafeteria. Like, did it get stale? Did it become tiring? Like, what happened? Did it become stale? Did it become old? Did it become mundane? Was I doing the same thing over and over? And it got to a point where people started throwing water bottles at me. People started becoming tired. And I never went home and cried about these things. I never shed a tear, during my time in high school. But it did make me upset. I was very frustrated. Irritated. Like, I wasn't sad, but I was always just angry, Like, in school, I was just, peaceful, peace-loving, positive kid who just wanted to see good things happen. But behind the scenes, I was just angry and frustrated and fed up because I just got tired of the school doing the same old thing over and over. And, the administrators, no disrespect to them, but they would always make threats and say, oh, well, if you continue the fight, you will be expelled. And those same kids would fight and they wouldn't get expelled. Like, there was no discipline, nobody would handle them. And so I thought my tactics and my ways would get them to calm down because, if they weren't going to listen to adults, I at least thought they would listen to someone within their own age bracket. But no, it didn't even work with that. And so my content creation, it started to fall down a little bit when it came to the dancing videos. And I just got so discouraged. It just reminded me of the joke videos that I used to make. Like, okay, I tried to be funny. That didn't work. I'm trying to dance and bring people together. That's starting to not work. So it's like, okay, what am I doing? Like, can I do anything right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever have that moment in your mind where it's like, man, can I do anything right? You know what I mean? Like, it just gets frustrating. And it just takes a toll on you. It makes you feel like you're not doing enough with yourself. It makes you feel like that, I don't know, you're just no good. You're trying to do good in a school that doesn't believe in good, but your efforts are just being minimized, and it definitely does something to your mind, and it makes you feel like you're not enough.
Corey always felt out of place with the world. He felt that the world did not respect him enough. He felt that no one understood him or what he wanted out of life. He felt alone.
There came a time my junior year where I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I wasn't respected enough as an individual. At this point, I had been in high school for 2 years. I had been trying to promote peace and love and unity and all these different positive elements, trying to bring people together, with my work, you know, trying to put my work out there and trying to, you know, bring people together so we can connect on a deeper level, you know, without all these punches and all of these angry moments, you know. I just, I don't know. I just felt in the sense that what I was doing wasn't working. Either people didn't get it or they didn't care. And so, I don't know. I just felt that the more I've tried, the more I felt disrespected or felt like, I don't know, ignored. People just didn't understand or they didn't care, like I said. And it got to a point where I, you know, told a few fables or whatnot, or I lied about, you know, I think one lie I told was I saved this little girl from drowning or whatever. You know, I had made up that story just so, you know, I can make myself feel more, you know, respected or heroic or whatever. And, you know, and at the time, it was a very immature thing to do. You know, I feel like, you know, if anyone is watching, you should just be yourself. Really, just be yourself no matter what. You don't have to fabricate something or, you know, put you in the situation to where you feel like in order to be respected, you have to come up with some grandiose story or whatnot. Because, you know, in my mind, like I said, growing up, I had a very imaginary mind. So I pictured myself and envisioned myself in these different scenarios playing these different characters. And, you know, I felt like it was wrong for me to do that. You know, I'll own up and admit it. You know, I should have never lied about something that serious about, you know, someone drowning like that. But I just got tired of feeling disrespected and disregarded by my peers that I don't know. Like I said, I had some good intentions, but I also had some selfish moments. I had some selfish, little bit of egotistical moments where I felt like, you know, I wanted to be important. I wanted to be, you know, validated or respected. You know, because when you're young, you know, everybody wants attention. Everybody wants to feel like they're important or special. You know, when you're young, you know, you want to feel like you fit in. And I didn't always felt like I fit in, you know, when I was coming up. And looking back at it now, I'm kind of glad I didn't fit in. You know, I've always wanted to keep my integrity, but at the same time, I was just looking for respect. I guess I was looking for it in the wrong place. You know, I was giving it a lot, and I feel like people kind of saw me as a pushover or as someone who was weak because I was doing that, rather than looking at me as, oh, I'm just being a decent human being. You know, I'm just being a decent guy.
Seniors, it has been an honor to serve as your class president. Always remember, change cannot happen if you do not speak up about issues. Change starts with the individual and unites.
Corey had reached a breaking point with everything and everyone. He had done all he could do to help those he thought needed it. But he finally realized that the one person he needed to help the most was himself.
By the time I reached my senior year, I was just fed up. I was just fed up with my school being the way that it was, and I had to come to terms with myself that these people are never going to change and the environment is never going to change. And why am I wasting my time using my content to try to bring people together who don't want it or who don't care about it? You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of hard, you know, being a creator or a filmmaker in this town, because not a lot of people are going to back it up. Not a lot of people are going to be supportive of it, besides your own family, of course, and, you know, one special friend that I have. a friend of mine, she always supports it. But other than that, you're not really going to get that much support out here. And so I had to realize that, you know what? It's time for me to go. I can't. I don't want to waste any more time here. And so I applied to as many colleges as I possibly could senior year, and I got accepted into 6. But, the one that I chose, Clayton State University, was located 25-30 minutes south of Atlanta. And so I had set my sights for Atlanta because I believed that Atlanta had a lot of opportunities to offer in terms of, film and communications and entertainment and all that stuff. So, once I graduated in May of 2019, I was like, you know what? Screw you guys. Screw all of you. I wish nothing but the best for you, but I'm getting out of here. I gotta go. This, I can't grow here in this town. And I didn't leave because of my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, my family, these are the people that I'd come back for. I'll come back for them anytime, because they've always been there for me. But I just couldn't keep myself in a town where I felt like, I was unwanted by other people, or my talents were unwanted, or, people just didn't care or they didn't recognize it that much. I mean, shoot, we have a performing arts center in this city right now that we don't even use. I mean, we use it, but we use it for everything but performing arts. I mean, sure, growing up in high school, we've had media festival events where students would create, these short videos and then submit it to, our local media festival through the schools or whatever. But that was it. That was all we had. No one really inspired us to create like that. No one really encouraged us to showcase our art other than that particular small, event. And we used the Performing Arts Center to showcase those videos, but that was only through the school. Other people in the community were not using it to their advantage, because I think that building, by the way, is school property. Because I know it's the Liberty County School System Performing Arts Center or whatever. But still, it's a performing arts center, right? It's supposed to be about performing arts. Why are people using it just to take tests, like the AP exams or whatnot? Or, people are just using it to schedule meetings and have meetings in it. I mean, cool, yeah, but, we got a big projector right there. Why can't we showcase some movies, besides the media festival stuff, Like, there are more things we can use it for besides what we use it for. I mean, it's in the name performing arts. And so it got to a point where I was just like, yeah, I got to get out of here because Hinesville's not serving me. Like, there's nothing here for me, I can't thrive here. And college to me was my way out. It was my escape. It was my way to go to a different city, be around different people, explore new things and reach new heights and, take all that stuff with me and, thrive out there, succeed and, do what I love and do it around other people who feel the same way as me, finding my people, finding my niche and owning it and running with it. That was my goal. And, I did exactly that.
He reached the conclusion that Hinesville no longer served him or gave him what he needed to thrive in the future. So he did what any ordinary person with a dream did. He packed up his things for college and set off on a journey to Atlanta.
I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected.
Don't let anybody make you feel that you are nobody. You are somebody, you have dignity, you have worth. Don't be ashamed of yourself.
Moral: 25 minutes out from Atlanta. A place where Corey did not see paradise, but at the very least, it was a fresh start. From a small country town to the outskirts of the inner city, he was in a different territory, a different world almost. Nevertheless, it was time to discover something new.
Going off to college was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. Because not only did it allow for me to become my own individual and learn how to stand on my own 2 feet away from home, but it also allowed for me to meet other people and see new things and take my skills and my passions and my desires to a whole new level in a different area and show different people who I am and what I do, as opposed to trying to fight for some validation here in this city. And I'm grateful for all the friends that I've made and the times that I've had at Clayton State when I was there during my tenure there. You know, I'm grateful for all the projects that I've worked on and projects that I've made myself and the projects that I've helped other people make. I'm grateful for it all, you know. I'm grateful for everything. And, 2019, I've had the honor and the privilege of directing and writing my own first college short, Scissors. It was a very, very, very significant movie to me because it was the first college short that I made. The first short I've ever made, in my college career. This was freshman year when I was first starting out. It came out around October of 2019. And this was around the time when we had the Campus Movie Fest, which is a festival where they come to your school. They give you all the tools and equipment that you need to make a 5-minute video. 5 minutes, no more, no less. 5-minute video, just telling a story. And you had a week to shoot it, edit it, and get it submitted. And so Scissors was a part of that movie festival, thankfully, because at my school at the time, my school picked the top 16 shorts out of, I think, over 100 submissions. I think it was about 200 or something like that. But it was in the hundreds. And they only picked 16 movies to be showcased in the festival in the auditorium that, we typically showcase our films in. For that school. The film department usually uses that auditorium for it. So my film was luckily one of the 16 that got selected.
Angel! Angel! Open up! Please!
Get the fuck away from my door, Troy!
Just... Let me talk to you for a minute. Just let me help you.
And man, just working with, so talented people, just having a remarkable moment, just having that moment to kind of grow, not only as a storyteller, but as a team player. And I'm just thinking the whole time, like, man, I wish Hinesville had this stuff. I wish we had programs like this coming up. And I just felt like I found my people. I found people who had ambitions like me, who wanted the same thing. Maybe wanted the same thing in different ways, of course, because, we've all brought different skill sets to the table to make a movie, because, it takes a village to make a film. But I was just happy to see that there were other people like me, and we're all coming together to make a project, and more projects to come. It just made me feel like, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm glad I made the move here. I'm not alone. Because being in Hinesville, sometimes it feels like you're alone. It feels like you don't have anybody here besides your family, of course, and that one friend I was talking about. But other than that, you're alone. Because most of the people that you knew from high school, you're not really connected with them anymore, and vice versa, as you used to be. And so it just feels like you're on your own personal journey. And so when I went off to college, it opened my eyes, and it allowed for me to see the world for myself and see people for myself.
Corey's views of the world had long shifted since being out of high school. In the past, his films and projects often reflected core themes centered around peace, love, hope, and positivity. They were family-friendly projects that reflected what he hoped for in everyone.
You said it! It is truly an honor to spend Christmas with all of you.
Yes. I've never had a real family before. This seems real to me. Hey, we're always here for you on this side of the woods. We can all come together and be a real family and love each other.
Remembering his
for who we
past
really
experiences in school, he realized that the world was not all sunshine and rainbows, and that people will always be people. It was time for him to mature, and so were his films. His goals became more personal, more brutal. His main focus now was to use his talents to speak truth and expose the world for what it actually is, and not what he wanted it to be.
My ambitions and my content creation became more of a personal journey rather than just trying to use it to unify an entire building full of people who were fighting and blah, blah, blah. Clayton State was a very stark contrast from Bradwell Institute. I can tell you that right now. I mean, there was still some ratchetness going on, but it wasn't like to the point where you saw people fighting physically. And if they did fight, they would fight like in the dorm rooms or, off campus or whatever. But yeah, once I got to Clayton State, it was just like, okay, I'm here to grow and elevate. All that stuff I did in Hinesville, I'm leaving that in the past because it doesn't matter anymore. All that stuff I did at Bradwell, it doesn't matter anymore. I just want to crumble it up, throw it into the shredder. No, wait, that didn't make sense. Crumble it up, toss it in the trash, and throw it into the furnace. Because it just didn't matter. I want to elevate. I want to move on. I don't want to be stagnant in one place. I don't want to be stuck in one place. I want to elevate. I want to progress. I'm all about character development. I feel like when it's time to move on from something, it's time to move on. The only person who would be keeping yourself in that same position is you. You have to put in the work and put in the time and the effort to make something of yourself for your future. And that's why I thought, college was the best way for me to do that. And I've always wanted to go to college. It's not like, oh, I was just using the college as an, as an excuse to leave or, whatever. I mean, Part of it, yes, but I really wanted to study the craft of filmmaking, and I really wanted to elevate myself even further and learn from real people who have done this before, you know? Because when I was here at home, I didn't know what I was doing. I really didn't. I just took my smartphone, like my iPhone, put it on the tripod, and I just started shooting stuff, you know? And that's how most of these filmmakers, they'll tell you, just pull out your camera and start shooting. You know, that's how you start out. You know, just point at something and shoot it. Anybody can be a filmmaker. Shoot, you got filmmakers all the time on social media. You know, I mean, content creators they make content. You know, your camera is your phone is a camera. You know, so we all technically have some aspect of filmmaking within our lives. If you think about it, you know, you don't have to be this super professional Martin Scorsese or, you know, Roger Deakins, who's a phenomenal cinematographer. You know, we don't all have to be professionals. You know, we can just tell our own stories whenever we want to. There's a director inside of all of us. There's a producer inside of all of us. You know, we carry our phones every day and we broadcast our lives every day. That's telling a story in of itself. And so, you know, that's what I wanted to do. Tell my story in a different place and offer it to different people.
And sharing his stories in a new place, he did. It was his time to learn, his time to grow, and his time to shine. Corey knew that simply being in a new place would not suffice. He had to go out and network, seek the knowledge and connections for himself. He knew that if he ever wanted to elevate, he had to put in the work. He didn't study film to be good. He studied to be great. And he wanted to be great with great people.
Come on, you gotta throw up the peace sign, man.
And no one or anything was going to stop him.
Only 6 people have died in an outbreak of the new coronavirus, which has now reached the United States.
I am officially declaring a national emergency.
There are now more than 118,000 cases in 114 countries. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Waltham and Melrose are the latest, though, of dozens of school districts to close for at least 2 weeks. And as WBZ's Lisa Greshy shows us, parents are now scrambling to make plans for their children.
Fast-breaking developments in the coronavirus emergency in the U.S. and around the world. The number of cases soaring just today, more than 24,000 now nationwide.
This is a projection, about 100,000 to 200,000. And we think that that is the range. We really believe and hope every day that we can do a lot better than that.
There is a new coronavirus variant that is causing more new COVID cases across the country than any other variant, according to the CDC.
There it was. A deadly, abominable, despicable threat that plagued the entire world. Just when Corey thought his world was expanding, it soon began to collapse. Everything that he had built upon during his freshman year of college was now completely threatened. This was the first serious threat he had ever faced in his entire life. The one chance he had to make a better life for himself by doing what he loved was now threatened by an unexpected enemy, COVID-19.
It's hard to believe it's been 4 years already. Yeah, that was an extremely excruciating time, very traumatic time to live through. You know, I've never been through a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? I've never been through a global catastrophe like that. You know, COVID, like back then, I didn't know what COVID was. So when they basically said that, oh, well, the schools are going to shut down for 2 weeks, because that's how it started. Shut down for 2 weeks. And then from 2 weeks, it went from that to the rest of the semester. So, you know, I come home from spring break in March of 2020. I'm thinking, all right, I'm staying home for a week and I'm going back to school. The day before I was supposed to go back, right? It was a Thursday. I was going to go back on a Friday. I'm packing up my stuff in my car. My mom tells me to come inside, watch the news. And I find out that, President Trump at the time, he issued a national emergency because the pandemic was breaking out, COVID. And so I get an email from my school email at the time. They tell me, oh, well, students can't return back to school for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 weeks? What? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm reading about that. It's saying it's a COVID related issue. And then I'm watching the news and they're saying it's a COVID related issue. So I'm like, oh, snap. I hope this virus doesn't spread. I hope it doesn't get worse. And then, 2 weeks went by. I was very optimistic. I was very optimistic. I wanted to go back so bad. But they said no. We're going to spend the rest of our semester at home, locked in our rooms, isolated from everybody else. And upon hearing those words, my heart just dropped.
Lost, confused, distraught, Corey began to feel lonely once again. Away from his new friends and away from school, thousands of people like him began to worry. The whole world stood still in isolation as this new threat initiated its conquest. Nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Everyone felt hopeless, imprisoned in their own homes. As Corey put it, it felt like a Disney princess being locked away in the tower.
I've invested so much time in leaving my city behind, taking my craft with me, hoping to elevate myself, go beyond great measures, and move on with my life. But you mean to tell me I can't even do that? I was morbid, I was livid, I was upset, I was depressed. I just felt like the whole world was just attacking me. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people felt that way too. Because I had big plans in 2020. Me and my friends, from college, we were supposed to work on the short upon returning from our spring break. But we couldn't do that because of COVID. And then they had a study abroad program, right, at the time, where I think it was like the film department, they had a program to where you could go to South Korea and study film documentary and make a documentary out there, document your time traveling. And at the time I was a freshman still, because this was spring of 2020. So I wasn't able to do it, but I was hoping that, my junior year or in my upperclassmen years, I would be able to do it, start saving money and go study abroad like my cousin did when he was in college one time. But no, I couldn't do that. I didn't get those opportunities. And so college for me it just became this sort of battleground between, okay, thriving out of Hinesville, staying optimistic, keep on doing what I'm doing, but at the same time, accepting the fact that the industry that I'm trying to get into is being threatened. And I don't know what the next steps are going to be. I don't know what the aftermath is going to be, And COVID was such a big deal to the point where production started shutting down. Stores started closing down. Like, I remember stores became bankrupt because of the pandemic. The pandemic has ruined so many lives and has changed the way we live our lives forever. we don't live the same way as we did in pre-pandemic. You know what I'm saying? During the pre-pandemic era, times were a lot simpler. You know, we didn't have to stand 6 feet apart. We didn't have to wear a mask every day. We didn't have all these glass doors, barricading around us, just to keep germs from spreading. But 2020 just kind of changed all of that forever. I mean, now it's kind of toned down a little bit, but still, it's like all that time we lost because of the pandemic, we can't get that time back. We can't go back and relive it. I can't go back to college and do some of the stuff that I've always wanted to do. Like, I didn't get to have the full experience like other people had, when they were in college before the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a good time in college, but I wish I would have had a great time. You know what I mean? I wish I would have had a better time than what I had. I'm still grateful for the things that I've accomplished, but I just felt like I didn't really get to have that full experience that I wanted because of the pandemic. And it saddened me. It made me feel like that the world was going to end. I don't know. I never felt so low in my life, ever. I never felt so scared and afraid of the future. Because this wasn't an issue that was just affecting me. This was affecting the whole world, like the globe. We were all affected by this. And so it made me fearful for everybody. Like, it made me feel like, okay, what are the next steps? Where do we go from here? How is life going to be after this catastrophe? How is my future career going to work after this catastrophe? And yeah, I was beaten. I was frozen. I just didn't know where to go.
Corey's mind began to go crazy. Just as the quality of his projects was starting to improve by being in college, his world had begun shattering. Depressed, disappointed, and discouraged by recent events, he began to pour down his feelings into his work, and the quality showed. It was as if he had been demoted to a lower rank. He was back to his humble beginnings, back to his old stomping grounds.
During the COVID era, around this time, I'm back in college now. It's fall of 2020. I'm sitting in my dorm room or in my apartment room, and I'm just suffering from this creative depression because I don't know what the next steps are. I don't know how we're going to heal from this as a planet. How are we going to heal from this global catastrophe that's taken over our lives? And so that kind of had an effect on my work. And so everything that happened in late 2019, my freshman year, the first half of my freshman year, I thought I was progressing. I thought I was getting better. I thought I was taking my craft to a whole nother level because I had shifted from trying to unite people in my local community to trying to showcase myself in a different community. And so it felt like I was going back to square one again. You know, I was going down a creative slope. And it had an effect on my work because I made this short called Mirage. It was a pandemic short. You can tell it was a pandemic short because I couldn't use other people to help me film it because COVID was a big deal at the time. So I filmed it in my college dorm, you know, by myself. You know, it was a movie that was supposed to talk about depression and how we kind of face our inner demons and face ourselves in a sense that, you know, it holds us back. So I played this character who kind of sees himself, you know, as a mirage or, you know, as this sort of figure who is identical to him. And he's battling things internally. And I kind of wanted to use that film as a way to express my emotions at the time.
You're not even worth the killing anymore. You're right. I'm not like you. Because I am better. And I will continue to be better. And I guess you're just gonna have to suffer for the rest of your life. If you want to run away from your own problems, you continue to do that. But I'm done. We are through. So the real pussy here, the real sourpuss, is you. Goodbye. Get back here and face me, you motherfucker!
Because I was very depressed. I was very depressed at how the world was. And I was very depressed to know the fact that this industry that I'm trying so hard to get myself in is in danger, you know? Because when you're on set, there are hundreds of people on set with you. Hundreds. On a professional set, at least. You know? Everybody's working hand in hand, arm in arm, to get this film made. And so I thought that, okay, well, since we're in this global catastrophe, I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope it doesn't last this long because I really want to succeed and thrive in the industry. But where's the future going to bring? Like, what's going to happen? Like, am I made for this? Or is this a way of being told to me that, you know, maybe it's time to move on? I don't know. I just got so scared and so worried. You know, being in my room, all my classes were online. And I hate online classes. I'd rather be in the classroom physically around different people and with the teacher. So that way I can learn better. And so I just felt isolated. I felt alone. I felt alone to the point where, I don't know, I felt trapped. You know, and it made me feel powerless.
Despite the odds against him, Corey did everything in his power to stay positive by continuing to do what he always loved, filming content. He did everything in his power to escape the harsh realities of the world, and his passion was his coping mechanism. At this point, it was all about survival for him, and he was not going to let this catastrophe bring him down and deprive him of what he wanted for himself. It was time for him to fight back.
Oh, you saw that, right?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, alright. Oops. That was not supposed to happen. At least I can...
we took a chance as a school and as a film department, and we started doing some in-person classes, but we all wore masks, and we all separated, at our desks and tables and stuff. And so I was able to, work with other amazing people, and make 2 more shorts that year. The Man in Black, which was a Western, and I See You, which is regarded as one of my best shorts. And I was so lucky and just so blessed and so humbling to be able to re-enter a space that I felt like I was being left out of, all because of a global catastrophe. And I'm glad to have had the honor and the privilege to work on those shorts within those years at the times when they were made, despite the hardships and the stakes that were being raised at the time.
With his past films in his earlier days, Corey has had many failures in the festival circuit, more no's than yeses. But thanks to new skills he had learned along with his fellow friends and colleagues, they were able to shine bright in many film festivals, securing many finalist spots and even wins. For the first time ever, Corey felt that eyes were finally watching him, and they wanted more from him. His quality had improved, his narrative ideas kept growing. He was energized and motivated once again. 2020 may have been a depressing year for him and many others, but 2021 was his winning season, and he wanted everyone to know about it. He was going to make sure that everyone knew exactly who he was and what he was all about. And even with all the doubters and people who looked out on him in his past, he wanted to prove them all wrong. His stage name may have been the Jokester, but no longer did he want to be seen as the joke.
Troy! Troy!
Wait. Slow down.
I know you don't know me, but I know you. It's Angel.
Wait, what?
She's locked up in her room.
What?
And I hear noises in here.
What noises?
Like sharp objects clicking together.
Come on, we gotta go. Come on!
2 years after Scissors premiered, I was very grateful and fortunate to have it be portrayed in the Black Film Fest Atlanta, which is an amazing, phenomenal film festival where all these Black creators from the area, or from other areas for that matter, they come together and they showcase their work. We're all just in this one big space. We're rooting for one another. We're happy for one another. And it just gave me so much love and joy to see other people like me see my work on a big screen in a theater, in an actual theater. My first year in the festival, they showed the movie at the AMC Camp Creek, which is right there in Atlanta. Not far from the school, actually, that I went to. But yeah, it was just so comforting to see different Black creators in one space. You know, we're all not fighting, we're all not shouting, we're acting professional, we're carrying ourselves a certain way, and we're all rooting for one another. You know, we want everybody to win, and it was just so comforting to see that, and refreshing. And it was just something that I just didn't receive here in my town. And you know, when I was there, it just made me go back in my mind again and say, man, I wish we had this stuff in Hinesville. Like, I feel like I'm on a different vibe here, you know? I just felt the love and the joy and the comfort that I received from that moment. And then the next year, I was fortunate to make Poison.
So, where the fuck have you been? You don't hear me talking to you?
I was hanging with the fellas.
You sure? You wasn't out there letting some other bitch go down on you?
Come on. You know I wouldn't do that. I love you.
No? You better do whatever I tell you.
No.
Drop your pants, Darnell. No.
I consider that as a sister film to Scissors. So Poison came out in 2022. I'm very amazed and ecstatic about the success that came with that short film. And once again, working with most of the same people that helped me with my other shorts, most of them, you know, they helped me again. And this time we just elevated it even further. So not only did we get featured in the Black Film Festival again, but this time it was shown in the Regal Atlantic Station, which is one of the biggest theaters, I believe, in America or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. That's what I was told, but I'll have to look that up. But yeah, one of the most popular theaters in Atlanta. I'll say that. You know, just to be safe. One of the most popular theaters in America and Atlanta. So I was fortunate to see my work on a big IMAX screen. You know, just see that happen. And it played for two days out the weekend. It played on the Saturday and the Sunday. We all dressed up and we came together for that.
No? You better do whatever I tell you.
No.
Drop your pants, Darnell. No.
No.
Poison was one of the darkest films Corey has ever made, with subject matters going a lot deeper than he had ever expressed.
Why the fuck do y'all care?
Unlike his older films, in which Corey made to inspire, Poison was a film made to express how dark and cold-blooded people in the world can be. A world where we look at one side of a coin, but not the other. He didn't want people to just simply be motivated. He wanted people to sit and think. Ever since Scissors, his projects have become more and more mature and less family-friendly, with him stating that not only is he getting older, but his audience is as well, and that his audience is maturing, and so should his films. He was now dealing with characters trying to expose their harsh realities for what they were, rather than trying to make the most of it, which in a way paralleled his own feelings about the real world.
It wasn't actually my idea single-handedly. About 2 years ago, before the pandemic started, me and some of my friends here, we actually sat down and we were thinking about making a story involving a man being abused by a woman, but that film was kind of a little bit more, it was a little bit different than what you saw on the screen. That story was going to deal with a man being in a hospital, and subconsciously in his mind, because he was going to be in a coma, subconsciously that was going to be a metaphor for him to kind of break free from his relationship. But this story here, I just kind of felt like, you know, I didn't want to leave that idea on the back burner because I thought it would kind of still be relevant today to kind of bring up a topic that's not really talked about much. You know, most times we hear about the man being the abuser, but we don't really flip the other side of that coin and, you know, look at it from a different perspective. So, yeah. Okay.
It also got featured in a book, in a published book, and this published book showcased a lot of short films from around the globe, not just in America, but around the world. And I'm very blessed and fortunate that our student film was able to make it into a popularized, published book. And so 2022 was that year that, I don't know, I kind of got my groove back a little bit, and it kind of helped me tone down my fears of, you know, what's going to happen with this pandemic. You know, as things were slowly getting back to the groove of things, and, you know, we're trying to find our footing again, you know, it was able to motivate me to keep pushing. And so I'm glad that Poison and the people behind it helped me with that. And yeah, we did some amazing things with that one.
Poison was the one. It was the one that helped him hit his peak in his college career. Not only was it his second time that a film of his hit the big screen, but he was finally getting the respect he longed for as a filmmaker. And he was willing to share his success with those who helped him along the way. These were moments he would never forget. He was confident, he was brazen, he was ready to keep the momentum going and show Atlanta that he was not just another southern small town boy, but a man with big dreams and big potential. Little did he know, however, that dream would take a while to achieve. Graduation. A topic that some are elated to speak on, but for others, very nervous and afraid. Corey's biggest fear was the unknown. He had come so far in his college career to prove his capabilities and use his potential for the greater good. And he knew that once he had received his degree, playtime would be over. College to him felt like a purgatory. In his own words, it was like waiting in the waiting room at the doctor's office for your lab results to see if anything fatal would be mentioned pertaining to your life and health.
Corey Ramon Davis, summa cum laude.
You know, graduating from college was kind of a hard reality that I had to accept. It was a hard thing to grasp because the one thing that I really wanted to do the most was make a mark on my institution. I wanted to kind of build a legacy and leave it behind, you know, for younger generations to come behind and showcase their own work and, you know, showcase their own talents. And so saying goodbye to the foundation that I've built at this particular institution, it was very hard to grasp because for the longest time I felt like I found my second home, I found my community. And you know, going through the last phase of my college career was very hard because I consider myself a futurist, so I think about the future a lot, and a lot of people don't know this about me. I spend more time in the future than I spend in the past. Like a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, you're so stuck in the past." No, for me, it's the opposite. I'm stuck in the future, but I'm trying to tone myself down a little bit and be in the present because I don't want to miss out on certain things that are happening now because I'm busy worrying about what's going to happen later or where's my life going to go later. And it just got to a point where I just got scared. That fear was coming back once again. I'd already gotten over my fear of the pandemic, but now the fear of the future, the idea that I have to find work for myself and make something of myself. I can't rely on the school anymore. It was kind of hard to grasp, because I had set my mark here. I had shared my gifts to many people, and I had met my people here. And so I didn't know where the next steps were. And so after I graduated from college in December of 2022, I made my first post-college short, my first non-student film outside of college using the skills that I've learned. And that was called The Test. And it had my brother in it. And I was very fortunate for the success that film had. It went on to go back into the Black Film Fest of Atlanta, and it got showcased again at the Regal Atlantic Station Theater September of 2023. So I was very fortunate and blessed to be back in the midst of that festival. But I wanted to make a film where it could showcase my talent and all the things that I've learned while I was in school. I wanted to test myself. I wanted to test my knowledge and test my limits. That's why I called it The Test. And that was also a film that kind of helped me cope with my post-college depression, or postgraduate depression as they call it. Because after graduation, it got rough.
Application after application, email after email, Corey was denied and ignored at every turn. Once again, he was discouraged. He tried to keep his head up high, but the fight was hard. After all he had been throughout his college career, his mind was filled with false hope. Hoping to get a fresh start post-graduation, hoping to be on his own, hoping to maintain a successful career doing what he always wanted to do. As someone who always used his gifts to escape the harsh realities of the world, he had no choice but to accept whatever fate lied ahead in his life.
Looking for jobs in my field, being denied left and right. You're hoping and praying someone will call you back or email you back, but they don't. I've always been ghosted. So you're just like, man, like, what am I doing? Like, am I not doing enough? Like, what am I doing with myself? And I just felt lost. I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I felt like all the work that I've put in, at this point, this was back in like 2022, late 2022. So at this point, I was 8 years into my content creation, filmmaking career. So 8 years had gone by since I started all of this. And I just felt like, man, for the past 8 years, I've been building up to this moment, and now I'm being told no. I'm being told that, what I'm doing, it technically isn't good enough. And so I just felt this sadness in my mind, and it made me feel a certain way. But I didn't give up. I kept going. I kept being optimistic. I kept pushing and running and doing all these different things. And, did some freelance work for this mayor in a nearby city. And I also helped this man. He's a great man in my community. He cares a lot about the students here. I helped him with his campaign video to run for city council. And he ended up winning that position. And so I just tried different things to keep myself afloat. And I didn't really get too far with the freelancing because a lot of clients that I tried to work with weren't really serious. So the inquiries weren't really that serious. So I just I haven't abandoned it, but I just had to come to a realization that I need something, I can't keep myself stagnant here forever. And I knew coming back here at Hinesville would be a pain, but at least I had supportive family members and different people in my life who I could depend on, and who are very loving and very caring and very supportive and want to see me do the best that I can. And they always make me feel like I have a home to come back to in case I need to. So I'm very grateful to have them in my life still to this day. Even as an adult, they're still there for me. And I am very blessed, and I thank God for them each and every day. Every day.
Accepting the fact that it would take a while for him to settle into the life and career that he always wanted, Corey used his skills to give back to his community and to also show that his skills have improved over time since his middle school, high school days. Despite coming from a small town and not having much to work with, he was going to have to make do with what he had. It was no longer about filming content just to be filming. He wanted to make art, not content. He knew his worth, and it was time to brand himself in the way that people understood that he was a filmmaker, not a content creator. There was no more schooling left to teach him, no more schooling left to help him. It was time for him to go fully independent. In addition, he was finally able to find others in his town who were like him. Created people who all had many unique styles and aesthetics that made them them.
Definitely a lot of talent out here in Hinesville. My name is David, for those of you who don't know me, but at the moment, I'm here for my Bring Your Love show, which is not a crazy turnout at the moment, being that I'm about 20 minutes in, and all of the people that said they're going to show up still haven't showed up yet, besties included. So it's a crazy feeling being like an underdog in your hometown city, especially when there's like other artists that come through the town and they're making like really average music. Not hating on them because that's their grind, but don't even care about the music for real. But they come through town and everybody just goes crazy for them and drive all the way out the way But I got so much blood and family out here in Hinesville, and they not trying to pull up or go crazy. Which a lot of it is nobody wants to support you until you're on top and making all the big bags and you can help them out. So I get it a little bit, but definitely a character building type of vibe to be in this area where music's not really too crazy loved or like really promoted out here. You gotta be like somebody business savvy to really be talked about and bragged about out here, but that's not what matters too much, because your hometown is just somewhere you're supposed to leave at some point. So whenever I do blow up, I know it's gonna be a whole lot of love out here from Hinesville Development, because y'all know that we talked and y'all was hating on the low. But I know it's gonna be a whole lot of, you want me to come back to the town and do shows and all that. So we're gonna talk about it eventually, but for now it's just putting in that work to make it happen.
If there's one thing that I've learned about being on this journey is that it is a dark, scary, lonely journey. No matter what you do in life, it doesn't even have to be what I do. It can be anything, whether it be moving to a new city, being your own person, starting your own family, doing your own thing in your own life. Accomplishing anything like getting a new promotion at your job or finding a new job or, whatever. It is going to be a dark, lonely, scary road that you have to travel on by yourself. You can't expect everybody to pat you on the back or say, "Oh, hoorah! Like you did it, man! Good job! Congratulations!" Because you're not going to get that from everybody, unfortunately. And as much as you post on social media about your accomplishments and your achievements, not everyone's going to root for you. Not everyone's going to like it. And you have to understand that at the end of the day, it's not about what they like. It's not about what you're trying to seek for them. Because let me tell you something, man. Social media is a very biased, it is a very superficial environment, and it can be real toxic at times. And it took me a while to understand this. It took me a while to understand that there's a lot of fakery on these apps, man. There are a lot of fakery here. People are not going to always be who they say they are. People are not going to always root for you. People are not going to always see what you see. But at the end of the day, it's not about how they feel. It's about how you feel about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta post because it's what you enjoy, or it's something that you want to get off your chest. It's not about what they think or how they feel, or, it's not about that. What does it mean to you? And so whenever you're accomplishing anything out of life, I want you to know that, it may feel like people are on your side. It may feel like, you got the whole world in your hands, but you don't. And that's okay. You're not supposed to have the whole world in your hands. You're supposed to have your own world in your hands. You got to worry about you. And I feel like I don't regret anything that I've done over the years, especially in high school. I don't regret any of the stuff that, I did to help or try to unify people using my gifts and my craft. But if there's one thing I regret not taking care of myself as well. I was so busy trying to be a Superman and, take care of other people and, try to make the school or try to make my community a better place. But I forgot to take care of me inside. And so I put all those burdens on my shoulders, and it's my fault. I take full responsibility for that. But now that I'm older and I'm wiser, I'm on a more selfish, personal journey. And I feel like you guys should be on that journey too. Do it for you. At the end of the day, you're all that you have on this earth. I know that's very harsh for me to say that, but life is a very scary, lonely road, and we are all going to have to travel it on our own. We're all going to die one day. We're all going to die at different times. That's why I say it's lonely, because we're not going to go away together, As Martin Luther King Jr. said, I may not get there when you get there, but hopefully someday we can all reach the promised land or the mountaintop that we've always been dreaming about reaching. And I hope that, I hope we all make it to do what we want to do in life. I really do. And I hope that at some point it'll all pay off. And I'm at the point in my life where, I don't need any validation anymore. I don't care about whether people like me or whether they get me or understand me or not. I've spent too much time battling that already. It's time to ask myself, what do I like? Do I love me? Do I like me? Do I accept me? Like, am I doing this for me? I owe it to myself. I've worked too hard and I've worked too long to get to this point for 10 years just for me to turn back and be like, well, I didn't do it because this person said I wasn't going to do it, or, they didn't believe in me. No. I didn't get my degree for nothing. I didn't put 10 years of my time and energy into this for nothing. It's going to be for something, whether people want that or not. It's not about what they want, it's about what I want. And that's something that I had to learn from myself. It's all about what I want as an individual. So all you people out there, who don't want to see me win, or, don't want to see any success from anybody else, or, you don't get me, you don't understand me, you don't understand what it is that I'm doing or why I'm doing or why I am the way that I am, then that's okay. I accept it. I'm not angry at you. You can't please everybody in this world. But what I can do is make myself happy. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, doing what I love. Doing what you see me doing right now, filming. That's all I got. That's all I know. You think I'm going to let somebody throw that away for me? No. So, yeah. If you don't know, now you know. I'm Corey Davis, aka Corey the Jokester. If you didn't know me then, you better know me now. Because I'm coming up. And I'm not stopping for anybody. It's up from here.
business motto, and it's a little hollow, it's a little grandiose.
Hey there, folks. This is me, your boy, the Jokester, and we are here for a brand new special episode of Broken Jokin'. Angel! Angel! Open up! Please! I'm done telling jokes. I'm retiring from comedy. I'm done with jokes. And all those talent shows I entered, I just don't have what it takes. I'm just gonna face the facts. I'm not funny. I'm not funny at all.
I tried to show them that you can overcome that enemy by being positive. I promise you, if you stick as one, we will achieve as one.
Come on, you gotta throw up the peace sign, man.
Look at me when I'm talking to you!
Corey, come here.
Oh! Smash!
Yeah, because
Oh! We are ready!
Back it up, back it up, back it up, back. Stop. Stop. Pop off this way.
Close. Like Corey's roar screaming in your ear.
Roar!